All right. Ready?
Yep.
Unique New York. All right. It is Wednesday, and I am here with the talented, the lovely, the funny Sara Haines.
Oh, thank you for that last part.
It was a
Thanks,
little bit
Brian.
of a pity thing because
I know, I saw it.
last podcast was Joy, and usually on the Joy podcast I troll Anna, but she started listening to them and then yelling at Joy and I late at night. So yesterday we just trolled you, and it was fun. So
You won't get late at night.
No.
I don't stay awake into the dark hours.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about today's show because we had the very talented, very funny, handsome, wonderful guy, Colman Domingo was here. And I mean,
he's just unreal. If you read about him, the best part is I was saying to the producer, Carly, who produced him today, I said, for as fascinating and amazing as he is as a performer, I just want more Colman Domingo. Like, I want more of who he is as a human.
yeah, he radiates good guy.
He literally personifies grace. And
Yeah.
you have to kind of listen to him speak or read things he said to understand that. But the only thing more beautiful and rare and precious than his abilities is his heart. Like, he's just such good people.
Well, you talked about one thing today that you were really into, which was his real life love story with his husband.
Oh, it is literally the stuff that you could not write. I remember reading this one of the times he came before, how they were like crossing in a street, and it was back in the day where you'd write on Craigslist. And he was so taken by his eventual husband that he thought to maybe put out an ad, and then found an ad as he was looking through them of someone saying, "I just passed you by the Walgreens."
It is crazy.
That is destiny to it. And again, from their first date on, they've been together. They've been together 20 years, married since 2014 maybe, around then. But I mean, it's all you want in life. It's so beautiful.
One thing that he said that I thought was interesting, he said he didn't want on that first date to bring his representative. He wanted to be himself. So he asked a lot of questions about his life. Do you think that's a good first date how did you do it with Max?
It depends on what you're there for. Colman Domingo had real intentions. This wasn't like a hookup. This wasn't he wanted to find his person. And when you do that, you just cut the crap. It's efficiency. It's time management. It's, so when I would date, I was probably too honest with a lot of people.
That's on brand.
That explains why they didn't call. But with Max, he even jokes, people say, when did you talk about children and marriage? And I'm like, I probably did the first date, but it wasn't in a weird way. It was when you ask, what are you looking for? I hope to be married someday. I definitely want kids. Like, why not put all of that out there? The person there is a difference here. I'm also not saying overshare. There are people that on online dating profiles or on, like, they meet someone, they like put their guts out there. That's also the intimacy you offer. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's letting someone get to know you in the right time. I wasn't pouring out volume. I just wasn't going to sugarcoat it. As Max said, he saw all the red flags. He just kept coming back for more.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, the red flags are fun to look at. And then suddenly.
Yeah.
But did you get the same from him? Did you feel like he was really showing you all of him?
Max doesn't have representatives. Like, I wish he did some days. Like, he is what you see is what you get. He speaks his mind. Don't ask him if you don't want the truth. Like, and I love all of that about him.
I think I've told you, I had a really great first date with my wife, and then I had a disastrously bad
Was the second one
date.
the karaoke?
Yeah, drunken karaoke.
Yes, I remember this.
Where only I sang. And she likes to tell the story that it ended with me putting her in a cab, giving her a $20 bill for the cab, and her thinking to herself, I just made $15 because I'm never going to see this guy again.
Yeah. You know what?
So, I showed a little bit too much of myself on the second date, I guess.
I can't believe you went karaoke on date 2.
It wasn't the
When
intention.
I say honesty, I mean, like, do you want kids? Do you want to get married? Not, can you sing Whitney's I Will Always Love You?
It wasn't that. It might have been some NSYNC, but it was fine. Tearing up my heart. Anyway, but it was a mistake. That being said, all of my red flags were there too. And I didn't mean to go to karaoke. We were supposed to go to bowling, and it was...
No, I'm pretty sure you probably planned the karaoke and the drunken high kick that she also got probably that night.
All right, moving on. Let's go on from this topic from the cutting room floor that we had today that we didn't get to. According to a new book on Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, it was revealed that Desi named their firstborn daughter, Lucy, without consulting Lucille. who was still out of it from the anesthesia.
Yeah, that happens.
She originally had wanted to name the baby Susan. We discussed this story in the meeting this morning, and you had a personal connection to it.
Yeah, not with my own kids. Max and I were very much in sync. I'm planting that for you in case you want to break into song. But it was my dad that messed with it. So my sister, I guess back in the day, you filled out the birth certificate or the name or whatever, and a lot of times the men were tasked. The woman pushed out the human, and the man went and filled out the paperwork. You know, pretty much sums it up. But my dad, my sister is Catherine. I had it wrong when I repeated the story earlier. I think they wanted it to be Katherine, and my dad spelled it Kathryn. And so
like Catherine Hahn, very, very cool.
Yeah, now, but like she was born in 1971. But so he misspelled that. Susan, my second sister, is actually Suzanne, and it's spelled Susanne, and she hates when people call her Suzanne, but that's how my dad spelled it. Then my dad I'm named after his mother, Sara Haines. He goes to fill out the paperwork and he puts an H. Sorry, he drops the H from Sarah.
Right.
His mom was spelled Sarah. He dropped it.
This is the bane of your existence, people putting an H on your name and not knowing it.
And my dad forgot the H, and I've been living with it ever since. But then Hillary, my middle name, who they didn't even pick, the nurse did, because my parents were like, she's redundant. We already have 2 other girls. Right. She's not the son we were hoping for, so we'll just have the nurse name her.
Did you just say, like, whatever you got?
No, she said, we're going to name her Sarah, and our last name's Haines. What do you think? And I guess the nurse was like, oh, and I don't know if she had other ideas, but eventually it was like, what about Hillary? Like Sarah Hillary Haines. So my dad went out and spelled that with 1 L, which is the masculine spelling of Hillary. I misspelled my middle name until I was probably 16 or something when my mom saw it, and she goes, you know you only have 1 L. And I was like, yeah, and dad forgot the H, and I don't know what to do with this. Like, so I just think with great power comes great responsibility. My dad should never have been in charge of putting down the official names of anyone, because we're all stuck with this.
Now, my middle name is Frederick, and for some reason...
Oh my God, you're Brian Frederick?
Brian Frederick Teta. But for some reason, I'm named after my paternal grandfather, but for some reason... Oh, settle down, Hillary. Masculine Hillary. But... What is wrong with Brian Frederick Teta? It's fine.
No, it's beautiful that it's family, but like it does.
Boofed. But here's the thing. It's spelled Frederick with no E in the middle for some reason, because my mother thought she was being creative, and it's ridiculous.
So it's not Frederick?
It's Frederick.
Is that how your grandpa also?
No. Yeah, I don't get it. So these are problems. Also, I want to go back to the anesthesia thing, because this is actually something that they don't tell you when you're having a baby. And I was, you have to make a lot of big decisions on that first day and everything else. Yeah. So my wife had the baby. She had a C-section, and she wasn't feeling well afterwards, and they gave her some medication, and it knocked her out instantly, and they just handed me the baby, and I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do.
I would never have done that.
Oh, my gosh.
Brian Frederick.
So I am stuck with...
Frederick.
I'm thrilled to have this precious first moments with my daughter, But, like, there were questions like, well,
do I hold the head up? Or?
Well, no, like, do you give her a bottle or not? Because we were worried about breastfeeding and that kind of stuff. And you couldn't do the skin to skin because she was unconscious. So,
you
could
have done skin to skin.
I tried. I did something. But
how did you fail? It's skin to skin.
I don't know. I was very confused. And then there was, like, the blood cord registry was calling, and I had to meet a guy outside on the corner.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that I thought I would have someone to bounce ideas off of. And
she was out.
And she was out. So anything wrong with my daughters is on me.
They don't tell you a lot of stuff.
They don't tell you anything.
No.
All right, let's go back to these topics. You were talking to the audience during a commercial break yesterday, and this is one of my favorite little known facts, especially now that you've just humiliated me about my middle name. The question from an audience member was about what's the most trouble you ever got into in high school?
And I didn't get into trouble.
No, but you did have a very funny story.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that was the first time you were hearing it.
Yeah.
But, so there was this famous, maybe the only haunted house in Iowa. It's in Des Moines. It was called Lynn's Market or Lynn's Haunted House or something. And I had begged my mom to let me go. And it was 4 of us from the volleyball team. And we were driving to Des Moines. And whatever. It was super scary, and I peed my pants. Done. So that's it. But
we need some more information here. So Like, was it one person jumping out at you and you peed?
No,
or what happened exactly?
No. So what happened was
You're 17 years old and you had an accident.
Yeah, but I also thought my life was at risk. So it was like my body doing what it was programmed to do. So it was... the haunted house is actually really freaky. And there was a point where the reason I love them is that burst of adrenaline. It's like a roller coaster.
Sure.
But I also hit people when I get scared. So I'm like a little violent. So I backed into a corner midway through the haunted house because I thought I was protecting myself, but I backed into one of the characters. And as they ran, I pushed down all my friends and ran over everyone while I was wetting myself in survival mode. It happens. But yeah, when I got to the end, my friends turned around and they were like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Oh my God, I don't even think I felt it. But
you could have pretended you spilled something or
down from the center part down my leg. So my friend, we had to drive back to Newton, my hometown. And so I had to wrap my friend's sweatshirt and sit in my wet pants for 45 minutes, reminiscing about how amazing the haunted house was.
Did you keep the sweatshirt, I'm guessing?
I did wash it before I returned it. That's what good people do.
Brutal. Has this happened since? I just want to be clear.
No, but every time I go to get scared, I'm like, maybe I should go to the bathroom.
Well, you remember, for a long time, I used to scare Sunny at the table. I used to have clowns come out and people jump and scare her. If I ever did that to you, it could be
it's violent. And I don't mean to, but I hit people when I get scared, so it don't come near me.
Okay.
You know, but the peeing hasn't happened. But I would never go into a scary movie, a scary ride, a haunted house ever again without going to the bathroom beforehand.
I have to point out that you're bringing this up. Joy's mentioning that you've started to hit her again when you laugh.
Well, because my feelings are big. And good or bad, I fall off chairs.
Yeah, I like that.
It is and it isn't. I don't mean to hit her,
right.
But she's funny, and therefore it's kind of
can you
user beware.
Can you use your words? I mean, I just feel like hitting someone is.
It's like my body can't contain the laugh or
the pee. Or the urine.
Pee or this. And little did I know it'd get worse when you have less control down there. So imagine if I did it now.
Yeah, after 3 kids.
3 humans and one large 9-pounder at the end there. That set me. I mean, I barely make it to the bathroom these days.
Now, before this, you said you never got in trouble in high school. I have trouble believing that. You didn't get in any trouble, or is this because you think your mother's going to listen?
No. I legit. Well, so I lied to my parents once. And I got.
Once?
Well, no, sorry. I probably lied more than that. But one time, really bad. I was a senior in high school, and they had let me take their car to Des Moines. This is the big journey. And I was staying the night with my sister. And when I got back, I'd let my friend drive the car. We were in our town. We were dropping everyone off, and I wasn't feeling well. And she ran into a mailbox, squeak across my dad's van. It was a caravan. And I was petrified, and I parked it in the driveway, and I remember my dad was mowing the lawn, and I thought, oh, maybe they won't notice. So I run up to take a nap, and not even 5 minutes passed, and my dad walked in, and I hear Sarah, and I thought, oh my God, he was across the yard. He came up, and I lied about it, which was dumb. I'm not a good liar, and I said, oh, I think it was the parking lot. You know how Des Moines is, big city. Someone must have bumped into it, and I couldn't even look him in the eye. And eventually, when I did admit that we had run into a mailbox, he never believed me that I wasn't driving because he thought I was still lying. He still to this day doesn't
who was driving?
My friend Nia White.
And that was okay to have your friend drive his car?
Probably not. Okay, but the kicker in this story was it was the first time I had drank the night before.
Oh,
so you had to get through all your athletics because you could get kicked out. So I was done with everything. But it was the end of my senior year, and so I had a couple wine coolers. That's all it took. I threw up red, and I was having my first hangover. And so that's why I kept I want a nap. I need to lay down. I don't feel well. I have a headache.
All right. On the scheme of getting in trouble in high school, this is not that bad, I think.
That's my point, is I didn't get in trouble.
All right. So other than that, no cutting classes, no cheating.
No, my sister made me late 3 times when I was a freshman because she has a problem with time management. So I almost got in trouble, and she was dating the secretary's son. So she kept getting us notes written. And my teacher, when I came in, I kept looking at him like, we both know this note is. And he looked at me, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Was the secretary writing the notes illegally, or
yes. She'd come in and
wow.
she's like, oh, I was running late, and
that's a great hookup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, but like, just be on time. School's the same time every day. Right. I hated that.
I got in so much trouble. Of the co-hosts, which would you think got in the most trouble in high school?
Ooh. Anna.
Yeah, that would be my guess too.
Anna
Navarro, or I could see Joy.
I could see Joy
just
being
back
like,
talking a lot.
Yes, like dropping some bombs and stuff of like why, like questioning all the rules in the institution and stuff. I could see that.
Yeah,
definitely not Alyssa. Definitely not Sunny. I could see Whoopi like kicking the door on the way out and be like, "I'm not coming back" or something. But
I think that might have happened.
I think that did happen.
What about Anna? Makes you think she got in the most trouble?
Well, she just walks in her own path.
Yeah, must be nice. All right, before you go, we have a listener question. I know you enjoy those. How do you, Sara Haines, stay optimistic during these challenging times? Are there any practices or habits that you incorporate into your daily routines, to help you stay grounded and hopeful that we might be able to learn from? Let's hear it.
So I think the world and how, when you think in big world problems, you're going to be in the corner, fetal, shaking. It's too much. But when you bring it back to your own life, there is something that always helps me on my worst days. I try to think of 1 to 3 things that you've wanted that you have right now. You know, a younger version of yourself would have killed for, and here you are, and you hold on to those. And every time your mind wanders or goes somewhere, you keep center focusing it on that. You're retraining your brain to focus on what you actually have.
Right.
And it kind of keeps you grounded in a way that doesn't let your mind get lost in the noise.
I like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. We were talking yesterday, Joy was saying how you can't be funny and positive.
That's true.
Do you agree with that too? This might be why you failed as a comedian.
I'm not funny, you guys. I'm a good laugher. I'm a violent laugher.
Yes.
But I'm a good laugher. Yeah, I agree. I think, but I do think it's not in my defense, but in defense of someone like Jimmy Fallon. Like Jimmy Fallon, I always defended.
He's funny and positive.
He's funny, but he's self-deprecating, and even when he breaks, or he used to break on SNL, I used to go down with him. Like there are people that, find a way to do it.
Sure.
But she's right. Like, she cracks me up.
Yes. And she is not what you would call a positive person.
No. Her name is a joke. Joy? Really, Josephine? Really?
Although I think she's genuinely pretty happy.
No.
But yeah, it's
she brings joy to other people. She is not Joy.
Yes.
She's Josephine.
She's Josephine.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, thank you for joining me today, Sara. Tomorrow, I will be back with Anna Navarro.
Who likely
listened to this. We will see you then.